for a week-long diplomatic visit. They were shawled in forest green for the coming hunt. They had been called from the stables to see the princess's new hobby horse. "Is that the bow of—" "It is," said my father. I had found my new toy on display in the palace temple, balanced on the rounded top of a lingam. I didn't notice, at the time, how the bow of Shiva was 3 times as long as I was tall, nor how its otherworldly alloy's weight had cracked a spoke wheel in the marble floor. The bow was causing the temple to subside into the earth at the rate of 1/8 of an inch a year. A staircase had been added to the temple threshold, one that went down. I simply found my toy and picked it up and started playing. My father's hunting companion said what people usually said when a girl was too tall or too beautiful or too headstrong: "You are going to have a hard time finding a husband for this one." When the time came, and it came faster than I wanted it to, my father had the bow of Shiva screen my suitors. The bow wouldn't suffer being lifted and strung by just any earringed princeling. Getting it off the ground was enough of a feat. As for stringing it, the bowstring was more of a bow cable. The only way Mithila's military engineers managed to unstring the bow in the first place was by having me flex the ends together to create slack. 2 crews picked at the knots in vain. I saved them the trouble by setting the bow upright and pulling down with one hand, then finessing the loops with the fingers of the other. My suitors had heard about my looks and my father's money. Their grasping hands twitched in the air. So many kings and princes, packed crown to crown, sweated up a royal stink in the hall. I surveyed the crowd. Polygamous 40-somethings, grey at the temples, effete sherbet sippers, mustached warlords slapping powder on their palms, and chubby maharajas who brought concubines to the courtship. I didn't care for any of these prospects. Thank you very much. I trusted the bow of Shiva would shoot me decades forward into spinsterhood. Part of me wondered whether my father wanted the same thing. Why else insist my future husband defy gravity and match muscles with the god of universal destruction? This wasn't some foot race or poetry duel to prove prowess or physique or wit. No. This was a safely impossible task. If you want to marry my daughter, fetch her Alpha Centauri in a jar. If you want to marry my daughter, fetch her 4 of Brahma's nose hairs, 1 from each of his 4 faces. If you want to marry my daughter, string the bow of Shiva. My sister Urmila and I had a hard time holding back our laughter. Our seats faced the bow. The most powerful men in all of India squatted and strained in front of us, bug-eyed and pink-faced. It looked like a constipation epidemic. I maintained a solemn silence no matter how often Urmila nudged me and commented on this one's back hair or that one's belly. The rose garland rested on my lap. When the Raja of Vatsa pulled so hard at the bow, he crossed his eyes and let out a squeak of gas. The whole hall burst into guffaws, and I didn't hold back a smile. The event was almost over, and I was all set to be an old maid when a boy roughly my age stepped out of the crowd. His long hair was tied in a top knot, and he wore the loose, dusty cotton of a soldier in training. "Who's that?" my sister wondered under her breath. My fingers tightened reflexively on the garland, drawing it ever so slightly up, and the roses reddened and surged scent. A spry old Brahmin, Vishwamitra, the boy's guru, strode up beside the boy, who had no herald to announce him. The Brahmin's booming voice answered my sister's question. "Prince Ram of Ayodhya." He had the walk of one of the slighter, sleeker big cats. Not the lion, who has something drowsy about him even when he's stalking, and not the Bengal tiger, who sheds his bulkiness only when he charges. Rather the panther, whose steps are lighter and whose gaze combines threat and interiority. He approached the